Well, first of all, thank all four of you for being here. We really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming out to Houston.
Thank you for having us.
How's the comp been for all of you so far?
Busy. Texas always shows up. Every time. You guys rock.
First time in Houston, so, you know, I've been trying to see what the Houston life is about. Got some good food and, yeah, hanging in there.
The Houston, my first visit, I have not seen what the nightlife's like, because I've been sleeping. And y'all keep it nice and quiet. It's very nice.
Awesome.
That's the old guy answer.
Right. You know, when you get to a certain plateau, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta call it. My feet were burning yesterday.
Where am I?
My feet were burning yesterday, to be honest. So I get you.
Well, first of all, I think we should just, as a group collectively, thank you for all giving us video game experiences we will never forget. You guys are all award-winning and just fantastic actors all across the board, and just video game acting just another side of that. For each of you, what really led to the video game side of things? Because you're all actors clearly, but what was the, I guess, the first foray to get into the video game side of things?
I just fell into it, and I was a big video game fan, and I was doing voiceover, and I had an agent, and I went out, and my first jobs were like Mech Warrior 2, and like I was just random pilots and stuff. Actually, that's not true, but the first one, I was 16 years old, and I was living in Kobe, Japan. I went to high school there, and a Japanese video game company came to my high school, and they needed 4 guys who spoke English, and this was like 1985, and we went down to a booth in Kobe and recorded a bunch of video game voices. So really, I've been doing them since they've invented video game voices.
That's amazing.
So, for like old 80s arcade games. I don't even know what games they were.
Do we have to answer? How do you follow that?
I forgot, but that was just an amazing, like it was just meant to be. It was really cool. How do you follow it? Well, with a stellar career, and
Which started when I was born, the day I was born. I went, crap. And somebody had the foresight to
pretty good. His ultrasound
Kobe, you
was,
got,
you know. Well, I was in Japan. A lot of fortunate things happened to me.
I've known you for years. I didn't know that.
You didn't know this?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
For me, I was on a television show, and when it got canceled, a friend of mine said, "Hey, you know what? You should talk to my voiceover agent. You're always annoying us with your voices and stuff. You probably could make some money with that." And I was like, "I'll meet her because I have kids." And I think one of the things that's good with us is we were right around that age where they started incorporating voices into games, because the first games that I did, I didn't even look at it like, there was no narrative kind of games, really. So I always felt like I was just part of the sound design, you know, because it was mostly like, get down, you know, follow me. You know?
Shoot that guy.
Yeah, and it was, so you didn't really think, I actually didn't want to be, I thought if you weren't recognized as, you know, like I didn't want it to be a distraction to the player. That's how I always felt about it. I just wanted to be like, you know, grenade, get down. So it just was stuff, because I grew up with guys who had headphones on, playing music, not even listening to, there was no voices really, you know, nobody did that. So, and then, so what's it like for the younger guys?
Man, well, you know, I started with the family that we have together. You know, not.
You can hold this yourself.
No, I didn't want to just grab it from you. Like, yeah, I got the mic now. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. But yeah, so you know, Naughty Dog was my first start, and man, you know, Neil told me, you know, Neil and Troy, they're like, hey, once you're in this system and you're in this world, you're never gonna leave. Like, you're coming back. So, you know, I didn't understand that at all. So, you know, and I didn't understand at 13 years old making a video game, and, you know, just seeing how everything was being put together, that I would come back, and it's the best thing a kid could ask for. You know what I mean? You get to be a kid again, and you get to just relive so much imagination and have fun. So, you know, I mean, it's the best thing. But yeah, the start for me, like I said, I wasn't, you know, into, well, I had a lot of on-screen prior to The Last of Us. So I was doing a lot of on-screen stuff. So I really wasn't into VO, or I wasn't getting a lot of VO roles. You know, I wasn't booking a lot of VO roles until, you know, my first game was with the Last of Us. So that was the first thing that kind of, you know, butchered me into that VO world. So yeah, that was my first start. But I mean, it's been a family ever since, and I'm looking up to these guys. Like, I mean, it's an honor to be sitting on the couch with these guys right here. So it's like I'm learning every day, you know.
Testing, yeah. For me, it's a little different. I've been a gamer since the Atari days, so I've been gaming for 35 years, and I'm obsessed with them. I play arguably too much now. And somewhere along the line, I became an actor in my mid-20s, and I was doing the action roles, like, you know, Indiana Jones, Die Hard. I love Stallone and Schwarzenegger and all that stuff. I grew up with that. And then one day I met someone who told me that she was a video game actress. I didn't even know that was a thing. I heard the voices, but I didn't know it was a viable career direction, you know, in the industry. And she, you know, lit that spark under me, and I started to pursue it. And my first role that I ever landed happened to be my favorite franchise that I grew up with, which was Resident Evil. But what booked me that job was my physical background is full performance capture. They needed someone who could move like a cop, who could do his own stunts, who could be very physical, and so it was my history with the physical acting that got me that role, and that's, you know, here we are today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, like I said, all we have done on-screen and voice work. Is there one you prefer more than the other, or is one tougher than the other when it comes to that? Is between on-screen or voice work?
You know, it's all fun. You know, acting is just a great job, but I went back to doing a movie after so many voiceover jobs, and I was so bored in the trailer, and it just takes so long, and you're up all night. You know, voiceover job, you roll in at 11 in the morning, and you don't have to shave. You could be in your pajamas and just, you know. It's so much easier. And all I ever wanted when I was a kid was to be a movie star. And now if there's like a movie thing and it's like some low budget thing, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna laze around in my trailer for 12 hours waiting to take a shot, be covered in toxic goo and blood and all that. So, not that I'm complaining, I'm just saying it's a little more onerous on camera.
Well, I just actually, as a shameless plug, I just finished a new series with Peacock called Hysteria. I really need people to watch it. It's doing very well, but I want a season 2 because it was so much fun. It was boring in the trailer. I was shy. A couple nights I got home at 8:30 in the morning after having a 2:30 in the afternoon call. We shot overnight. It was brutal, but it was so much fun to work with people again. Because since the pandemic, sorry. I have to take the shot. Since the pandemic, we record separately now. When you're doing animation, unless you're doing, again, you know, of course, motion capture, like Uncharted or Last of Us, any of these games, Resident Evil, I didn't even know that was, because I don't know anything. But, and I love motion capture, because you're with other actors, you're responding, you're doing it, you know, it's the physical part. It was nice to be back with people. I will never not do voiceover because it's so much fun. I love, you know, just you get to play characters that you wouldn't normally get to play. I mean, on camera, I'm always seem to be Dr. Cop Lawyer. It's like this, that's him. But I've played.
That's a terrible character name, by the way.
No, but I've been a Viking beaver. I mean, it's just like you get to do anything. I've been grandmothers in cartoons and different things. So, yeah. So I don't know if one's harder or better. It's like you said, it's just acting and it's just playtime. So yeah, I think that both has its perks. As long as we're working, that's the thing. It's like, hey, you know what? Somebody's hiring you. I don't ever want to have to serve food again. That was like my goal, because I worked in a couple restaurants the day I got my first real job, and I still know the recipe for zucchini fritters and how to dust it with a light Parmesan cheese, very nice, bring some ranch. It's my personal favorite. And I kind of remember that just as a little litmus test on, okay, don't get too big for your britches.
Like these guys said, they're both fun. I find VO actually a bit more challenging for me because I started on camera, and with my style, I'm just a very nuanced actor. I say a lot with my body language, all the non-verbal cues that we have in our daily lives that you guys don't even realize. That's a lot of my message comes through in that way, and it comes through in my physical acting. It doesn't translate much behind the mic. You don't see that, and so you have to find other ways to have the whole message come through with just this instrument. And I'm finding that a good, fun challenge, but at the core of it, it is all just acting like he said. So that's my experience with it. I'm still learning.
He's done.
Knew that was gonna happen one time. But no, I have to piggyback off you. I'm gonna piggyback off you. Yes, it is more of a challenge because, you know, with games, you know, you have to think about all of the efforts that we do put into our vocal. Like, we're not thinking every day, you know, when you're running and you're on the phone, your vocal pattern is different. You know, you're not just reading on the page. You know, we have to do a lot of physical activity in a closed space, or like I said, if we're on mocap stage, we do have more room, but then we have to backtrack. So it is more of a challenge when you get in that booth, and we have to do breathing efforts. You know, you have to do swinging efforts where you have to just find that motion, find that rhythm in your lungs, and you're just like, all right, cool. That's how we want to move. That's how it sounds. So it is a little more challenge, you know, with VO, and then with on camera. Yeah, I mean, it's a waiting game. It's a wait and go. Like you have a call time. You get there, do hair and makeup, then you sit in your trailer for like all day, and then like they shoot one scene for like maybe 2-3 hours, and then you're done, but you were waiting in your room for like 16, so it's like crazy. But yeah. As long as we're working, as long as we're there and having fun, that's it.
The ironic thing is, when a lot of times, like we had the show has some younger actors on it that set it around a high school age. When you have those big breaks, the ironic thing is they're in their trailer playing video games. I can't play, so I have to like read again. It's awful. It's terrible.
So at the time, you know, you're recording your line. You say you're just happy to be working and doing your roles, but then you get iconic characters like Solid Snake, Leon Kennedy, Nathan Drake, Miles Morales, and then you see the impact that it has on the fans of the characters and the stories that they tell. What's it like now seeing it up close and personal that what was just a job for you meant so much to someone else? How does that feel seeing it firsthand?
Man, it's an honor. I mean, you know, we get so many different stories, you know, from families, from the kids, of, you know, what our projects have either brought them through, you know, or, you know, what our projects have done for their family, you know what I mean? Just bringing everybody together, because that's what video games essentially do. You know, you're in a room with your friends, or you're either online playing, or, you know, it brings people together. So it is a very impactful thing. You know, it's a certain spirit that we bring. You know, I have nostalgia for everyone I see here. You know what I mean? So I know what, you know, they're bringing for me. So I know what we're doing for other people as well too. So I mean, yeah.
I'm always amazed when we get to come to these conventions. All walks of life play the games, all ages. I've met an 82-year-old grandfather in Birmingham, England, who plays online with his grandchildren who live in Michigan. And he was so proud. He's like, "Coach, I now beat their asses because they have to go to school and I'm retired." And he was really good. And he's talking about, he's like, destiny. He's like, "Oh, my ratios are up to a 19. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but, and there's kids behind him going, "Really?" And I'm like, so I just love that. You know, I think that, because when I was growing up, you know, our parents used to kick it. You couldn't be inside for some reason. My dad would come home, he'd be like, "What are you doing inside?" I'm like, it's cold out. He goes, put on a jacket. And I'd just be standing in the backyard going, I was like Butters. I'm like, okay, I'll sit out here, Dad. I'm like, but now, because you weren't allowed to be in my house, you weren't allowed to play video game in the basement, or, you know. So now to see, like you said, it's a great point. People play together, and then you can, you know, the technology and the storytelling is so much better. So yeah, I'm just always amazed. I love seeing so many walks of life have just embraced it so much. And yes, perfect word. It's an absolute honor to have been part of these things.
Yeah, my parents were the same. I grew up in that era where my parents wanted me outside playing football or basketball with my friends after school, which we did, but my mom wanted to throw my Nintendo across the room, break that thing in half. But everything they said, ditto. But for me, it's like looking in a mirror, because growing up, I was playing all the time with my friends. We didn't have online gaming back then, but we played together physically. They would come over, hang out, have a play date, and survive these games together. And I remember what that was like. I would daydream with my little bro back when I was in my late teens and say, Dave, wouldn't it be cool to do this one day and play these characters? I didn't know voice acting was a thing back then. And so it's like looking in a mirror. So every time you guys come up, and we have fans from ages like 6 to 82. It's ridiculous and awesome. So we love you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing the impact that they have, but also, like Nick, being a gamer, I get it. Like, there are games that mean so much to me, and I'm always stunned. Like, grown men will come up and I'll say something in Snake's voice, and they'll start to cry, and that started a few years ago, and I was like, oh wow, that's intense. But I just want to say, I'm replaying Miles Morales right now, and it's so cool to see a Spider-Man who's not like the standard white guy thing. The music, the costumes, your performance, like, I just think that's so badass for this generation. So I just want to answer from the perspective of a fan, because it's such a great game, such a great performance.
Thank you, man. We got to think about Pete's story, man. His story was rough.
Yeah.
He lost his parents, living with uncle, so he had that type of life.
He had trauma, man.
He had trauma, man. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, that's my number one thing. That's why I related with Pete growing up. You know what I mean? Because I come from a single mom household, only child. So I didn't lose my parents, but I didn't have pops in the house. So I kind of had that feeling of when Uncle Ben was gone. I related. I related to Pete. So it's just crazy how God works, world works, and everything comes back around. But thank you, man. Yeah, seriously.
So we are running almost out of time, unfortunately, and I'm really sad we're having this great conversation. But for like you said, you saw like the beginning of video games and how even if you weren't that huge a fan, you saw they started, and to see where they were before to like this art form of like storytelling, the music, and everything where they are now. What is it like to see that growth and know that all four of you have a huge hand in people calling video games art now? Like, there was that debate for years, but I think that debate's been silenced, and video games are considered art now, and efforts like what you four have done are part of that reason. What does that feel like for y'all?
Well, first of all, you looked at me when you said, I love video games. I'm just terrible at them. And it's like, you haven't played Uncharted that much? I'm like, what? Listening to yourself die over and over, like, kid, no. It's like, why am I doing this? It's so depressing. And I'm playing on toddler mode. I'm not trying to crushing, whatever it is. I just, joystick button. And now you have to be a engineer to be like, I'll play with my kids. And they're like, L2, what's that? You're dead. What? Hit X, where's that? You're dead. What? You can't look. They're over there doing like this, they're getting a drink, like they can. So I love the form. I mean, I watch them and I'll watch them play, but I get yelled at by my kids. I'll play Destiny and I came in and I grabbed this thing. He goes, you're ruining my ratios. And I got in trouble. I'm like, I bought the damn thing. Play it. And the game bought the house. Get outside. It's cold. No, it isn't. It's California. Get outside. No, but it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm this industry, I've been blessed to be part of this. Like you said, there weren't voices in video games. I've had people ask me, do you always want to do voices in video games? I'm like, no, they weren't voices. It was literally like, boom, boom, that was it. So I am forever grateful, no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm doing a film, a TV show, or I'm always going to do cartoons. I'm always going to be interested in games. I just got a cool, they sent some kind of cool audition for something, and I'll kind of go through them, because if it's just those, I'm going to scream for 3 hours, you might kind of go, but there's amazing writers and creators in the gaming industry, and it's a great place to tell stories that may not get us a place somewhere else. And let's face it, most games have how many hours to tell a story, and they push it into a 2-hour movie, and most people go, it's not as good as the games, because you're not on the stick, you're not in the movie, now you're just watching it. You're watching it. So I think there are certain stories that games can tell better and let you be part of than other forms of entertainment. And I honestly, I just count myself very lucky to have been at the right place at the right time in the industry's infancy to actually be invited to sit up here. So
I'll say quickly, I know we got to get out of here soon, but I think it's really cool. I was fortunate to see the entire evolution of video games from Atari to now. You get everything in between for 35 years or so. But what also is cool is that a lot of people our age, not you, but our age, who grew up with Atari and Nintendo, they grew up with the 8-bit, 16-bit era. Now they're old enough to be game developers, and we get the tech for that. And these indie studios are making badass indie games that I play on the Switch all the time on planes, that are 8-bit side-scrollers that I eat up like cherry pie. So I think it's cool that we're seeing like a retro wave of where it all started with these new games. And one of them is nominated for Game of the Year, Balatro, the card game. I'm playing that right now. Indie studio, I think a few guys made that, or maybe one guy made it. Game of the Year. It's just cool.
I had a pretty unique experience because, like I said, I started out, I was doing the same thing Nolan was, pilots or soldiers, or, kill that guy, that sort of thing. It was a pretty good performance. And then I got cast in Metal Gear Solid, my first Metal Gear game, and they sent a 1,000-page script. And then we were recording the first day, and they said, we want to show you a cutscene from the game. And they played the Snake shoots down the Hind D helicopter sequence. And just our jaws were on the floor. And I, having known video games as well as I did, I was like, this is entirely different. Like, this is cinematic quality storytelling, and this is going to change everything. So I remember the moment when gaming changed. I was lucky enough to be there, and that just, Kojima was so brilliant that it changed everything. And then here we are, and then Uncharted, like these epic adventures, and Resident Evil and all those things. So it was amazing to see that change in the industry, and to and to be in the middle of it, which was pretty damn cool as well.
Well, from all of us to the four of you, we thank you so much for these games, for all your work in them, because I really do think that these games brought all of us together in ways that we probably wouldn't have had it not been for the work you guys put into it. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all you all have done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, you made some noise for these video game legends.